and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amanda. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Okay, so it has been a while since I have posted a video, and I do apologize. However, I do have some really cool upcoming videos. So if you have not clicked on the bell to receive notifications when I post a video, be sure to do that. I also want to take this time to thank everyone who has stuck around and hung in there with me, even though I have not posted a video in a couple of months. So, with that being said, I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I am working on a tumbler or multiple tumblers, I have leftover epoxy. Today, I'm going to do a really fun and cute, simple project using leftover epoxy, but you don't have to use leftover epoxy. You can just simply do this project. With school being in session now, I thought this would be a really good time to post this project. So I actually started this last year, and needless to say, I have a PhD in crafting, and that is projects half done. I am really bad about starting a project and then something coming up and interrupting that creative process and kind of putting it off because the way that my mind works, if I have something on my mind, I have to do it right then and complete it, or else I just kind of lose interest in it. So that is what happened with this one. I started this, like I said, last year, and we're going to complete it today. So, I know everything is like digital these days, but for all you old schoolers, such as myself, I sometimes like to physically have things written out or have things readily accessible instead of having to try to pull something up on my phone or my tablet or my computer or whatever type of electronic device that it is. And so this clipboard I've had for a long time. It was a really ugly brown color, and I just simply painted it white on the front and the back. And then, as I mentioned before, I had some leftover epoxy from a tumbler I was creating, and epoxy is like, it's not cheap in my opinion, and so I don't like to waste it. So I just put some glitter in the remaining epoxy, and we're going to spread a thin, even layer of epoxy on the clipboard. Now, this works really well because, again, it was not a lot of epoxy, but it was enough to where I didn't want to just throw it out. But on a project such as this, you want a thin layer of epoxy. You don't want it to be too thick. So this is the perfect project for leftover epoxy. So you can see it does get a little bit hard to spread the epoxy because it is such a thin layer, but that's okay. Just keep working with it and moving it around. If you have to, you can sort of heat up the epoxy with a heat gun. That will just sort of help you to move the epoxy around onto the clipboard a little more evenly. But you just want it to coat the clipboard. Like I said, you don't want a super thick layer for two reasons. One, it will become hard to utilize the clip part at the top of the board the thicker that the epoxy gets. And then also, two, you kind of risk the epoxy chipping a little easier if it's raised too much above the surface. So just a very thin, enough to coat the clipboard, and then you're going to let that cure. Also, another way that you can utilize leftover glitter, aka dump glitter, is on projects like this, because again, this is the glitter I'm using for this project is just glitters that I had left over that I mixed together into an empty spice bottle. So I'm utilizing all my epoxy. I'm utilizing extra glitter that I had from previous projects. So nothing goes to waste. You get every cent out of your product. So, keep that in mind when you have dump glitter and you're like, I don't know, what I would use this on. Projects like these, perfect. Now, another thing is it doesn't look that pretty right now, but we're going to be covering this with a semi-transparent vinyl, and it's going to look really cool in the end. So hang in there with me and you'll see just how cute this project turns out. Okay, and then once the front of the clipboard has cured, you're going to go ahead and flip that over and do the same thing to the back. I do not have footage of the process for the back side of the clipboard, but it's the same thing. Again, just whatever glitter you want to use and just a thin layer of epoxy. Now, once my epoxy had cured on the front side of the clipboard, I noticed it wasn't completely smooth, but rather than adding another layer of epoxy, um, again, because we don't want that to be too thick, and I am going to have to add some vinyl and another layer of epoxy later. So instead of adding some epoxy now to smooth it out, I just added Crystalax Grand Finale, and I will have that linked for you in the description box. It's going to even out the small little dips in the epoxy on the clipboard, and it's going to harden almost like epoxy and create a smooth surface for me. So whatever you want to use, if you do want to add another very thin coat of epoxy, you can, or you can use the Grand Finale. But either way, you want your clipboard to be completely smooth before adding your vinyl. Okay, now the vinyl that I'm using for this project is a semi-transparent vinyl, which I purchased from a company that is no longer in business. However, I will try to find and link where you can purchase this vinyl, because I know several different companies have this vinyl, and also Creative Fabrica, which you can find a link in my description box for them. They have several composition notebook digital papers. And what you can do is you can actually print this out on a sticker paper or water slide or printable vinyl paper, and you can make your own. You can do whatever colors you want. So the options are there. Like I said, I have Creative Fabrica linked. I will also try to link the composition notebook digital papers on Creative Fabrica for you as well. And then also, if I have another storefront that sells this type of vinyl, I will link that one for you also. With that being said, what you're going to want to do is you can do this on a die cut machine. I actually have some clipboard templates that I've used in the past, but it's really simple if you just line your vinyl up underneath your clipboard area, cut around that area, fold the vinyl to where you need to cut it off, and then that's it. So it's really easy. But again, you can also use a template in a die cut machine and cut it that way. It's totally up to you. And as I was putting my vinyl on, it sort of got a little sideways. No worries, I'm going to show you how we can fix that. All you need to do is trim the vinyl up and place the part that you trimmed to the part where it did not adhere to the clipboard, if that makes sense. You can see what I'm doing. And then we're going to flip over to the back of the clipboard, and I will link this vinyl for you as well. This is notebook paper, and I'm just going to trim it up with some decorative scissors to make it look like the paper is torn. And because this is a transparent vinyl, you sort of, the line sort of gets lost. And so what I wind up doing is just going over that area with a white marker and then sort of rubbing it in with my finger to make it blend really well. And that sort of defines that area of the notebook paper. As far as the decals go, now these are really cool. I created these in Canva, and I will link Canva for you as well. But then what I did, I do not have a UV DTF printer, so I use Lion DTF. I will link them for you. And these came out so vibrant, so cute. I just love them. The idea for this clipboard is that it is a composition notebook in which you have decorated with stickers and or doodles. When I was in school, this is what I used to do. In class, is I would just do random doodles. I'm not an artist, so I didn't know, I didn't have really cool drawings, but I would draw hearts and stars and just swirls and dots and just random things because I didn't really like school. But I digress. So that's sort of the idea behind this clipboard. Is the front looks like the front of a composition notebook, and then the back is like if you were to open the notebook, you have some paper that has been torn and some stickers and some doodles. So super fun. Check Lion DTF out. I do not have any sort of affiliation with them as far as any compensation for supporting them. I just really do like them. I use them all the time because I do not enjoy cutting vinyl. I will do it, but it's not my favorite thing to do. You can use vinyl for some of these. Again, water slide, clear sticker paper, whatever you have on hand. But Lion DTF have really good deals. So check them out. And then once you have all of your decals, all of your stickers on the clipboard, you're just going to go in with another coat of epoxy. We're going to sand and clean up any edges of the clipboard. And then that's it. This project is completed. So I think this turned out so cute. Please be sure, if you enjoyed this video, to give it a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. And just be sure also to click on the bell for notifications, so anytime I do post a new video, you will be notified. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. And as always, I hope everyone has a blessed day.